Oh, testing, testing. 好有聲啊。Okay, boys. First of all, wish you have a happy Easter ahead of you. Okay, 好嘛，大家都享受下個假期啦。So, what we are going to do? Hopefully, over this holiday, I can shoot 4 chapters of video for you. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's start with the very first chapter on chapter 17, in which we are going to talk about AD and AS. Okay, aggregate demand and aggregate supply. 嗱，都幾重要㗎。This chapter, a very important chapter, because in DSE, it's going to take up around at least 15% of the DSE。最離譜嗰年，我哋遲啲會睇㗎啦，甚至乎出咗2條 long question，not one but 2 long questions on chapter 17 and chapter 18。OK，好嘛？嗱，so what we're going to look at for chapter 17？嗱，chapter 17 is the easier chapter, in which we look at the definition of AD and why AD, aggregate demand, will be downward sloping. And then we talk about what are the factors affecting AD. Then we do the same for AS, which is a little bit more complicated than aggregate demand. Okay, 好嘛？嗱，咁所以呢條片啊 for this video, let's look at the very basics of AD, aggregate demand. So what exactly is aggregate demand? 究竟係咩東西嚟嘅咧？ It is a total demand for all goods and services in an economy at all given price level。 咦，有冇發覺好熟口面啊個 definition? Yes, very similar to what you have in your demand。 記唔記得 demand supply 個貨啦？ Very similar to what you have for demand. Only this time we are talking about all goods， 所有嘅 goods 啦，係咪啊 ？At all given price levels 嗱，小心啲啊！我哋今次嚟到 ADAS 咧，starting from today on, we are going to use price level 嗱，好緊要呢啲字。另外都係啦 ，output level。唔係 output， 唔係 quantity， 唔係 price 啊，係 price level 物價水平。OK， 好嘛？嗱，what exactly is AD？ 頭先我哋睇咗啦 ，of all goods and services which we have learned in our GDP。我哋點知道成個經濟所有嘅 demand 係幾多啊？Actually, it's exactly the same as what you have in your GDP. We have household demand, firms demand, government's demand, and the foreign countries demand. OK， 咪就係 CIGNX 咯。So to put it simple, we are talking about basically, OK， 嗱，我哋睇多次啊。AD is the relationship between price level and total quantity of output demanded. Let's just call this Y. OK， 呢阿 Sir， 我點知道 at a given price level what would be the Y? In fact, it's just CIGNX， 支持 GDP 咯。啲人使幾多錢係咪啊？ How much they spend will be exactly the total output level demanded by people at a certain price level. OK， 好嘛？所以啦，我哋知道啦。In fact, with this said, therefore, OK, it is actually quite easy to get that anything resulting in a change in GDP would automatically means it will also affect AD。 只要會影響 GDP 嘅東西，就會影響 AD 啦。OK， very simple, right? Very easy to understand. OK， 好嘛？嗱，大家記住喎 I said any change to GDP will be a change to AD. Obviously, another statement is wrong. If we say, AD, OK, is just real GDP. Now this is wrong, OK? 呢個唔啱㗎嚇 OK? But I'm not going to detail why it is not correct. 總之記住，唔可以話 AD 同 GDP 一模一樣。No, no, 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 no. But you can say anything affecting GDP would also affect AD. OK? 得唔得？So this is the definition out of our way 嗱，但係呢個咧 definition 咧其實唔緊要嘅，好少考嘅。So what would be in exam? Okay, what would be in exam is reasons for why AD curve is downward sloping. As you can guess，同點樣一樣啦。Okay, in fact I have proof。望一望，原來 sample paper 同13年啊都問過2次。OK， 嗱 sample paper 唔計啦。Obviously, it is a sample paper. It's a fake paper. Okay, but actual DSE has asked why AD is downward sloping. Give one reason 嗱，所以係要識㗎嚇，你要識㗎嚇。OK, there are 3 reasons in total why AD is downward sloping. But before that, OK, boys， 嗱唔該你自己小心啊。呢啲 reason you cannot say this is the law of demand 嗱係唔得㗎，係錯㗎一件事。No, you can't say AD is downward sloping because of the law of demand. True, it is related to the law of demand. 成個 econ 所有嘢都同 law of demand 有關嘅啦。OK, but you cannot say it is because of the law of demand. Okay, in fact, in our syllabus, there are 3 specific reasons as to why AD is downward sloping. But before we talk about that, 我哋首先要解下咩叫 downward sloping 咧。阿 Sir， downward sloping 都有嘢解嘅咩？梗係有啦。OK， 望一望先。OK, here, let's see。我哋望一望個 graph 先。原來啦 ，for our ADAS graph, OK, we use price level。窒機添 ，so sorry。OK。We use price level and the quantity of output. Now, therefore, downward sloping means that if there is an increase in price level, then our AQD or our Y would decrease. 我哋嘅 output level 會跌啦。OK， 嗱唔該你留意清楚啊，係 price level 限頭，跟住導致 Y 會變。The only thing we can conclude with a downward sloping is at price level and output level. OK， 嗱我哋下條片會再講噶。In next video, we will talk about what if the whole AD shift that would be anything outside of price level. OK, price level 啊。OK， 好嘛。All right, with that said, now let's look at what are the 3 reasons. Okay, the first reason is what we call wealth effect or real balance effect 係嘛 ？Wealth effect 好似好易啲記係咪啊？ So what happened is that okay here let me give you an example. Okay, now let's say my income is $100. 我以前咧有100蚊嘅。Now when I want to buy good A, it is $20. So at $20, my quantity 嗱我哋quantity 係一個錯嘅字嚟㗎。But for easy demonstration purpose, I'm going to use the word quantity will be 5。我可以買到5件 good A 喎。Unfortunately, now let's say the price level increases, it becomes 100。好啦，但係我 income 冇變過。So what happened to the quantity would be 1 only, unfortunately. OK， 見唔見啊 ？Now what happens is 而家我哋發生嘅事就係 as the price level increases, quantity 唔係 quantity 啊 ，output level, the output level demanded will drop. OK， 好嘛？原來呢個就係 wealth effect 啊。How do we put it into words? Let's see. Price level increases, purchasing power of money increases. OK， decreases. OK， 係嘛？當佢價升，我嘅 purchasing power 咪少咗咯。So the actual, OK, the actual purchase of goods and services would decrease, meaning total quantity demanded of goods and services would also decrease. 係嘛？貴咗咪買少啲咯。Very similar to our law of demand, right? 係嘛？但係記住啊，唔係 law of demand, we call it wealth effect. OK, first one quite easy. 好啦，嗱 second one, unfortunately, This one we cannot fully understand yet until we are at chapter 20。我哋要去到真係講 money demand、money supply 咧，我哋先至會明晒呢個道理啊。But for now, let's take my word，OK，係咪？大家要相信住我先啦。Another one is what we call interest rate effect，OK，好嘛？ So what is interest rate effect？OK，now this time we are assuming 嗱，頭先我哋講啦，我哋嘅 income 係不變啊嘛，係咪？嗱 this time we are also assuming our income remains constant。得啦 ，when price level increases，OK，when price level increases。咁即係咩意思啊 ？When you go out to buy things， 你出街買嘢要點做啊 ？You need to hold more money。原來我哋有個名俾佢㗎。Later on in chapter 20, you will learn this is what we call transaction demand for money。OK，MT 我哋叫做 OK，transaction demand for money would increase。OK， 係嘛？要帶多啲錢出街買嘢啦。OK，when money demand increases。Interest rate would also increase。OK， 記住咯 ，interest rate 你見阿 Sir 寫咗啦，係咪？原來啊 ，for a lot of people，interest rate is the same as cost of borrowing。點解啊 ？We think about it, right? When interest rate increases，actually it becomes more expensive to borrow money。因為點解？第時還嘅錢要多咗啊嘛。OK，interest rate increase，cost of borrowing would increase。When cost of borrowing increase，consumption, people will borrow less for consumption and investment. Okay, so 會跌啦 which means total quantity demanded would drop. Okay, 嗱 boys 嗱唔該你小心啲啊。嗱我哋遲啲咧 on the next video we will talk about what are the factors affecting aggregate demand would be also be interest rate. 咧阿 Sir 咁有咩分別啊 I will talk about that in next video. But for now, remember for interest rate effect.The starting point, we start with price level, a change in price level. 而下一課啦 the interest rate changes by itself, by let's say by the central bank. 唔係因為 price level 而改變，係中央銀行去改變。OK， 嗱 if you're interested, you can go look up something we call loanable fund theory, okay, which is out of our syllabus, okay, 好嘛 out of our syllabus， 所以唔講啦。所以第二個 interest rate effect, okay， 嚟多次啦 interest rate effect when price level increases, MT transaction demand for money would increase, pushing up interest rate, therefore cost of borrowing increases, discouraging people to borrow money for consumption and investment。 咁 C 同 I 跌咗，即係咩意思啊？即係Y 會跌咯，係咪啊？Our output level，OK，output level would decrease。OK， 得唔得？ Now the final one is what we call net export effect. Okay, net export effect, which we can go both way. Okay, now let's say my price level increases。而家啦，我自己本地嘅貴咗 ，so to foreigners 對外國人嚟講，我啲嘢貴咗嘛 ，so their QD for our goods would decrease。咦？而外國人買少咗我啲嘢，即係咩意思啊 ？It means that exports would decrease. On another hand， 我本地人咧 ，local people，if I do not buy my own goods， 我而家唔買自己本地嘅嘢 ，my demand for foreign goods，OK，would increase。點解啊？ Do you remember？ 唔買本地嘢，點解買多啲外國嘢啊 ？Because of substitute relationship。本地嘢貴咪買外國嘢咯。OK， 得唔得啊 ？OK，for example，let's say if you find local paper 係咪？可能買紙巾啦，發覺喂香港製造嘅紙巾太貴喎。Then where do you buy? You can buy let's say from China。From America, for example, from Singapore, for example， 係咪啊 ？So demand for foreign goods increases because of substitute relationship。好啦，即係咩意思啊 ？It means that our import would increase，見唔見啊？唔緊要， 兩個加埋 ，it means that our total quantity demanded of all goods and services would decrease，係咪啊 ？NX 跌咗嘛 ，NX 跌咗咪 Y 咪跌咯，所以先 price level increases from these two branches，呢兩條唔同嘅 branch 啊 ，you see Y would decrease。Okay, so boys, remember you must recite all three， 三個都要背晒，得唔得？三個都要背晒 ，wealth effects, interest rate effects and net export effects。OK 係嘛？咁我哋好快填咗佢啦。When price level increases, real value of wealth would decrease. So private consumption would decrease. OK 得唔得？ Real output would decrease. Another one, interest rate effects. Price level increases, interest rate would increase, meaning C and I would decrease because cost of borrowing would increase. OK， 最後一個啦 ，net export effect. When price level increases, import would increase, export would decrease. So net export would decrease, leading to real output decreases. OK 得唔得啊？嗱唔使問啦，三個同我背晒佢，唔好撞啊。OK， 你唔好搏，考試唔會出呢個 ，no， 同我三個背晒佢啦，好嘛 ？So in our next video, I'm going to talk about the factors affecting AD. OK, I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye.